Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey everybody, welcome to Paranormal Karen. I have a special episode for you today. First of all, it is the fabulous Deete that is with us here today. And she's always knocks it out of the park, but we're doing something really different today. Deete, thank you for coming on before I set this up. Are you feeling good today?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Good, folks. I don't even know if I'm going to have commercials in this one. So here's the first thing I'm going to say to everyone. Don't try this at home. We're going, Deete is going to be channeling. Deete, would you say a fallen angel? Is that a nice way to say it?
Yeah, I think so. And I feel like, so I didn't actually call in any certain one, but I feel like the name I'm getting more is Azazel. Okay. And I think he's in the Book of Enoch, if anyone's interested in reading that.
Okay. And the reason we're doing this is because I saw on Deette's channel, you did this once. You went in to talk to angels and demons, and it was mind-blowing to me. There was so much, in fact, I'm going to get into it with the first question, but I am going to repeat this again, folks. As one of my friends that I was like, because I asked you and we were both like, let's just check and see how our vibe feels. And I asked a friend and sort of my protection friend, actually, who removes dark entities from people. And she was like, oh, Deette's got game. And I was like, yeah, she will know what to do. If it's going to be safe, it's going to be safe with Deete. But a lot of times I get calls from people that think they are more powerful than they are. So this is not for... Don't channel, just let her do her thing, learn from what we have today, and then we'll move on from there. But the key thing that made me so interesting was talking about humans' dark side. So, disclaimer, don't do it at home. Deete, tell me how you would like to start this, or shall we just tune in? You lead me.
Well, if you've written, we came up with questions prior and I've kind of been meditating upon them, but if you want to ask those as we go, it helps me get in like a deeper state so that I don't have to ask and then come out of it more.
Got it. Okay. I will just ask. And then when you're done with the question, I'll just ask another. There was on the original, tape that I saw of, Deette's, there was something saying sort of the energy that fallen angels or demons are part of, that they're perhaps part of the human being's shadow side. Is that true, or can you elaborate on that?
Okay, so it looks like there's two different parts to this. Let me just see if I can. So it's funny, I'm not actually getting one entity. I'm almost getting like a whole, I guess you would call legion. There's almost like a tribe of various energies that are coming in. They're making me feel like they have various roles. One of those roles is to show you shadow side if you are requesting something that your energy field is not able to maintain at this time. You will have to face your shadow in order to incorporate more light so that you can vibrationally match up to what it is that you're asking for. I don't know if that makes sense. But they're making me feel like that is a part of their role and is something that they need to be able to show you so that you can evolve to match up to that you want. The other thing, so then the other part of that is they're making me feel like they're not necessarily here just to show shadow, though. They are actual entities that existed a long time ago that have been sort of bound to Earth to help individuals evolve in humanity. So if you have evolved past the shadow side, their role is not going to be to show you the shadow. It will be so that you can come more into your power, and their energy is it feels like it's going to be different.
So okay. So the first part with the shadow is if I am in complete denial of a side of me, does one of them show up to show me the side I'm trying to ignore?
Okay, so hold on. I have one energy coming forward a little bit more to answer that specifically. If there is a desire or a will within you that is not in alignment with what you are wanting, like a frequency within you that is not in alignment with your true desire. Let's just say you want a very handsome man, a very specific man. You will need to face certain aspects of yourself. And he nods to the idea of denial or maybe just traumas or aspects of you that he says you refuse to incorporate into the ego base.
Interesting. Okay. Got it. All right. So refuse. Okay. That makes sense to me. He just said trauma. When we have trauma, are they part of us processing that trauma?
Oh, that's interesting. So that question, so I get more of a no based on what you asked, but this entity is showing me that trauma actually is almost called upon when coming into the physical body. It's like we are expecting it when our soul enters into physical body, and it is not desired necessarily, but he's making me feel like it is something that we agree upon coming into a physical body in order to understand ourselves.
Okay. I think so. This is a really big picture that I wasn't even expecting on the first question, that it's really great. So are they here?
There is one more thing with trauma, if I could just add what he just visually showed me. So he's making me go into like cosmic energy, and he's showing me that what we could consider trauma is basically like if you have a cosmic planet and it hits another planet and it ends up being corroded, or it carries on, I guess, marks from that interaction. Mm-hmm. You can consider that as trauma, but if you take a step back and just see it as energy or like an energetic transference, it causes the one planet that incurred damage to repair itself, because it doesn't want to stay out of homeostasis if it's an energy field. It wants to be whole. It wants to be full. And so it goes into a transformational journey kind of feel.
Oh, that makes sense. So trauma is where we're trying to repair ourselves.
It's where you're trying to become whole again from what has previously been lost, but there's no... The only difference is, as he's saying, that in cosmic field, there's no judgment toward it. It is what it is because of the way energies move and interact. And he's saying it's more difficult in a human state because we have the ego and personality, and we take that into consideration and we blame others when really we're our own inner cosmo and we're just trying to evolve inwardly. If that makes sense.
It does. And this actually kind of leads me to a question that is down the line a little bit that, two questions. The first one is, should we be afraid of them?
Oh, interesting. Okay. He's saying certain individuals should. I'm asking which ones. Like, he's making me feel like yes and no. So when should you be afraid? Let me see. He says if you have not faced your shadow, if you refuse. Okay, so he's showing me the energy of like narcissism. Like if you are using objects and things to tout your ego and tout your personality, but you refuse to face the trauma that is bringing you those things, you're going to have a very dark experience with them. You think, because you're not seeing yourself as an inner energy. You're using objects in the physical world to mask it. Who should not be afraid? He's bringing me to a lot of spiritualistic kind of personality traits, those that kind of lean more towards spiritual paths, that they kind of understand that there is darkness and light, and we have to look at both.
Okay. I like this guy. Probably not. I shouldn't say that out loud, but I feel like this is really helpful. Are they a part of God or one with God or separate?
Okay, so he's interpreting that possibly when you say one with God, that means that they are in complete unity with God's source, which means that they are able to encompass a full capacity of love and light. And he says we are not. Okay. But we are an aspect of God's source, We are from that source, but we are not able to encompass light frequency.
Oh.
We only bring in balance to that which has become unbalanced.
So where we see it as like a fight between good and evil, they see it as a balance.
Yes, he really likes that actually interpretation. Okay. Because he's saying you call upon God's source energy that does encompass full love and light, the angelic realms, like Christ consciousness. That's what's going to bring you love and light, but they are there to help you evolve out of any darkness.
Wow. Okay. That sort of brings me to my next question, which is, but I think he's already answered it. They used to be referred to as teachers. Do they see their role as that, as teaching us?
He says, yes, we were once the wise, he says serpents. We were once the wise serpents, as many of you may understand in various religious symbology. But now we are in a fallen state due to power, the greed and power of mankind.
Okay. Tell him to pardon my words. They're the only ones I have to use. But so they were not thought of as evil before, whereas now they're perceived as that?
That is correct.
Switching to possession, when they possess a human, what human, I know he said narcissists, and I'm going to sort of preface this question. I recently dealt with someone who was possessed, and it was all about that she was a good person, and Mother Teresa has been possessed. What happened there, or what human characteristics do they find attractive, or is it literally the person's subconscious? I know that's a huge question. I can break it down.
Okay, let's see with Mother Teresa. I'm trying to understand any possession within her energy field. They're showing me more that this is what it feels like anyway. They're showing me that her energy field blocked out any evil, any darkness. And so it was more of, I guess you would call it like a right-hand path where you don't incorporate any darkness. You shut it out and you just focus on love and light.
So again, she was out of balance.
I think that would interpret as out of balance because she's not seeing her shadow side or anybody else's. She's working with shadow, but they're making me feel like it's not the same as what they would interpret as working with shadow. She's masking it in some way with just love and light.
Are there other people, are there other qualities that I keep wanting to say they find attractive or they feel it's their duty to work with? Should I say?
Okay. He says we work with energy, so we see beyond the physical body. We see the energy field within the individual, almost like a small cosmic field of light, and we can tell if there is a capability within certain individuals to encompass more light, probably based on other, he says, timelines. I'm going to maybe translate that to lifetimes, other lifetimes and experiences that the soul's gone through. It can maybe just hold a greater energy field. They're very attracted to that. Let's see what else. He says some of us, I don't know that all demonics do this, but he's making me feel like some are very attracted to those in power because they like to challenge the power dynamics within the human experience.
Okay, so they may go with a later question I'll ask. They may go with a politician because they want to challenge this person that thinks they're so powerful?
Yes, it's more ego challenge, though, not soul challenge. And so there's different levels. Some demons will challenge the soul and the evolution of light. And it sounds like also maybe some more, I guess, well, let me see what he says. it just feels like other demons have more of a drive or energetic desire to try to really challenge the control and power dynamics of the personality and ego.
Okay. So it might be their... Do we have personal demons?
Yes. Okay, so what he's showing me is it's almost like you have one energy of a demon, and that energy demon has a collective of people because of the frequency that energy demon has. Like, let's just say it's very greedy with money. Those that vibrate on that level will have that same demon. It doesn't feel like every person has a different demon.
Ah, got it. Okay. So if we are in balance, if we are a person that is in balance with our shadow and ourselves, we have the capacity to, shall I say, hold more light or hold a bigger space?
He says yes, and that is very attractive to both angelics and to demonics. Mainly, he says, because the more that you learn, we also learn. So if you can enlighten yourself in a physical body, there's this idea that it trickles down and upwards. So Earth becomes more enlightened, people become more enlightened, the demonics become more enlightened, and then upward, the cosmos become more enlightened and expansive. So it benefits all to expand that energy.
Okay, so he's saying it benefits them. It doesn't make them want to, I hate to use, it doesn't make them want to work on us. I don't want to say harass or frighten us. It makes them not want to work on us, or it makes them want to come to us, makes us more attractive if we're in that bigger span.
He says, in so amount of words, it allows us to respect the human experience and expand with you. He's saying that when you have problems, it's because many people don't know how to use their own energy field. They don't understand their own energy. They don't understand like an insight into themselves. And that's where they mess with you, because they're trying to get you to go deeper within yourself. And it feels like your world's falling apart, and they want you to have more control of your energy and to understand how your energy works. And so the more you don't, and the more there's holes, they're making me feel like that's when you're going to have a lot of problems.
Okay. So sometimes they're around and they're not problems to us.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. There's so much. Because now it's like I want to. So we should not necessarily fear them.
He's still making me feel like there's an element of fear that needs to be kind of addressed, because the energy can be very strong for the human psyche. It's a very intense,
motivating.
It's a very intense energy, and so it's a very handle with care still kind of thing.
Okay. Now, when people conjure or try to get say they do satanic rituals or stuff, is that offensive to them? Do they like it? Does that question make any sense when people are conjuring or trying to deal with them?
Sure. He says it depends what entity is being evoked. Okay, so there's a lot to this. What entity is being evoked is a big one. Are you looking for an entity that can bring wealth, power, those kinds of things? Are you calling upon an entity that is going to, bring you different things? And then there was also this idea of invoking. So the magician that is invoking the entity, do they have the frequency that can handle it?
Okay.
So there's problems that occur if the magician is evoking a various entity and it is not in alignment with the energies around. There's something with that. When you say, do they like it? It feels like that's just their role and their purpose, but a lot of it also depends on us.
Okay. And like is a human word, not a word for them. They're just doing their job.
Yeah, they're just doing their job is kind of what it feels like. It's just energy, interference and transference, like interactions.
Okay. Do they have any connection to jinn?
making me feel like the jinn are like sisters or cousins.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Let me see if I can probe them a little more on how that just differentiates between demonics, because I almost feel like they're very similar, like so similar. Okay, so he says demonics are more like ancient gods. We had physical being at one time. We roamed the earth and brought in various wisdom and enlightenment to the species upon the planet. The jinn are energy fields, more like thought forms. He's making me feel like they're more like created entities from like the demon's own will and humanity's own will. And they are there to, well, it seems like wishes are one thing. I could just get wishes. I'm trying to find if there's anything else. I don't see anything. I can't understand any other reason why they would be here. Because I've heard that jinn actually can be very hostile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's making me feel like it's just because they're not anything like humans. It's just energy that's there. It doesn't have any feeling.
Okay. How about fae, fairies, or elementals?
Okay. Oh, they're very much the same. This is why I liken fairies to when they call alcohol spirits. It's because it's like a totally different energy that's not tied to human. Let me just see what they were also created very similar to the jinn. They are here. They're very just mischievous. The fae, the elementals, especially fairies, they can be very mischievous, but they're very good with children, like any childlike state.
But they're not again. They're not connected. These and the jinn are like nieces or nephews, but not exactly the same. The demon holds more power.
Yeah, I almost feel like he's showing me that like the ancient gods created them, or the ancient gods created individuals that could create them. Like they're in the hierarchy, they're in above hierarchy because they roamed physical and interacted with humans, and they have an essence to them that's kind of similar to the human soul in some way,
but not quite.
Yeah, whereas fairies and jinn, they don't feel like that at all. Like they're completely different energy.
Do humans, did the fae or the jinn mix with humans? Are they part of our DNA?
The fae and the jinn?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I get more of a no. There could be some gray area based on our previous history's DNA, but as of now, I get a very no.
Okay. UFOs, aliens, are they another separate?
Okay, so that's actually interesting. I feel like they are more intertwined with that concept. Let me just see. Let me just focus on aliens. He's saying that we have had interaction with the concept of alien because of our capability to shapeshift and change form. Let me see, what else? They are fourth dimension, and so those that have a beyond perceptional ability can also see more of like demonic entities, and so they are perceived as sort of like another entity from another realm, which makes them feel alien, or what makes us perceive them as alien. Let's see if there's anything else. I'm asking, are they tied to other planets that work with us now? They're making me feel like no, at one time they were, but they're now bound here. I guess what you would say the fallen. They're bound to this state of existence, and that there are other alien type beings that are not bound that exist on other planets.
When he says they're bound here, and I know in your other video you said some of the demonic is bound here. Is that they can't get out, or they just, again, it's not a I want or like, it's like, no, we're here, we just do what we do?
Okay, let's see. He says, long ago, because of our own interactions and choices with humans, we are now tied to the evolutionary state of the human consciousness. And if they evolve, we can evolve out of this state but as of now, we are bound to the conscious state of the human experience.
How does he think we're doing?
Let's see. Collectively, not very good. Actually, there's a pullback energy of not disgust, but just like a disappointment.
Okay, so they got to stay as long as we stay, and we haven't been doing holding up our end. Okay. I think I want to be careful with my questions here because I think I already asked that. So he made a reference to past lives. So someone that's possessed in this life, they may be finishing off a contract from a last life. Does that make sense?
Let me see. Okay, yes. That question has a lot of energy. I don't. Hold on one sec. Sorry, there's some weird. So I think he's getting hung up on contract. Let me see if I can just get in from past life energy. Well, he's saying because of various lifetimes the soul goes through, they have had more interaction with our beings. They understand our soul, we understand their energy, and so we match up to them very quickly and early on in life. And we choose to work with them, and they feel drawn to work with us as well because of the energy matching. Let me ask about contract, though. I don't know how to answer that because he's really confused about what that would mean.
Agreement, responsibility to each other.
Like the demon would be contracted to that individual.
Yes, like when someone becomes when we find a demonic case and there's no one's been doing a Ouija board, no one's been conjuring, it just happens. Like a human mind wants to find out why. Does he have an answer why, or it's just back to the same which we said before? That was a person who wasn't in their balance. And would that be a past life issue? In other words, they came into this life out of balance because the past life was out of balance.
Okay, so he understands. So he says with that, then it would be family lineage. If the family DNA is connected to any of our energy, then the energy will be transferred over to that individual, even if they are a child. And he says, like, haunt them in a way, or I'm asking for just different. He says, like, possess them could be another word earlier on, and it would be up to the child based on their conscious understanding to evolve out of that state and to come in command over it. This is a kind of a complicated question because then there's also, I saw visuals of the royal family.
Oh.
So I don't know but it doesn't feel like it's just the royal family that comes into contracts with working with various entities. It feels like there's other family lines that have their energy fields kind of tied to the same demonic energies, and they also have to go through similar processes of removing them or going through their own karma type of energy of releasing.
Okay. And we do have the ability to release them, shall I say, or I want to say overcome, but then it sounds like a challenge and he's still saying balance. So we have the capability to release them.
He says, yes, in fact, they find that to be one of the meanings of life. One of the purpose of actually coming into physical existence would be to face the, he says DNA entities, I guess. DNA is tied to the entities.
Okay. All right. When this is a silly question, but when people use Ouija boards or stuff like that, do they react to it or no? That's. I know they have legions or one of my questions was, do they have like levels, lower levels, higher levels?
Yes, definitely levels. It feels like higher levels do not react to Ouija. There can be lower levels though, for sure. And just one of the visuals that I'm seeing, so some of the higher levels look more Draco, more like, I guess, those tall reptoids that are very, very large. And the lower levels seem more like little raptors, I guess, from the movie Jurassic Park. They just seem really just kind of like lower consciousness and kind of just sneaky and kind of like snaky, I guess.
So no purpose, just chaos.
Kind of, yeah. It feels like they're on a lower conscious level. They're just there to serve the master and the overlords, basically the higher ups.
Oh, so an imp. So they would go in first. Okay. Does humans loving each other repel them, or and I almost want to lead that, this is a weird jump, but I almost want to lead that to sex, because I know there's I have no idea if this is true, but sex without love, it attracts. Does it attract negativity or them?
Okay. Not necessarily. Okay. No, because there's also the inner energy of the individual. Okay. If one individual is off, he's making me feel like yes, but if one is not, it's not the act alone that's going to cause any, I guess, invocation.
Okay, got it. And when humans are in a church and they are all in unison in this space of love, is that again a balance issue, or is that good for all of us?
That's it's a hard question, because he's making me feel like it is necessary, because there can be so much darkness that can consume us, that those energy portals and like coming together is very strong. But then he's also making me feel like it produces more of a shield that doesn't allow enlightenment entirely. It can be very ignorant if used to the extreme, but it's very powerful, and it's almost like it needs to exist, but there also needs to be an incorporation of other energy.
So it's a decoy if we believe this one religion and these are the rules. That's a decoy or a shield, but it's not the truth.
Yes. In fact, yeah, that's a big part of, he says, why so many souls are incarnating, to relieve that from consciousness.
I might be getting too detailed. When we have spirituality, which is sort of, I'm going to put that under a bigger term, which is maybe the person deciding what's right for themselves, that is balance. Is that balance?
Okay, say that one more time.
Like when someone is like, say, I have left a church and I am now a spiritual person, taking a little from this religion and a little from this and understanding what works for me. Does that put me more in balance than if I was to be a part of a religion?
Okay. He says it depends how your own individual energy has evolved. For some, staying in a religion actually keeps them more in balance. But if you have reached a conscious state where he says, for example, shadow has caught up with the consciousness that you no longer can expand within those ideas and beliefs, then yes, it would serve you to balance your energy by gathering other information.
All right. When we do psychic stuff or channeling stuff, are we opening ourselves up for trouble, or is that good? Again, I'm using good and evil, and I don't think that's his thinking. Is it all right for human beings to open up psychically and meet like we're doing right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's see. He says, we would say overall it is very good for the human to open up their own portals and go through an experiential of understanding how the energy operates with other energies, so that it can come into a state of homeostasis within itself. So I guess I would translate that as almost like you've got to start looking at your own energy, and you can open up those portals and see how your energy interacts with others, so that it can kind of come back into balance with itself, if that makes sense too.
It did.
So he actually thinks it's a good thing. it's almost like throwing a kid in the water and telling it to swim, though, is what it feels like. Like you've got to kind of go through that energy exchange to know what your energy actually is. And that's a very hard lesson sometimes.
Okay. So that would be like you doing this and not someone that has never channeled before asking to speak with him.
He says we would. He's saying we would assume that it would not be a frequency match if no one had channeled and we had come in. It would be too much of a. He's almost making it feel like they would fall down or they would not knock down. But it would be advisable to open themselves up to cosmic energy and spirit in general.
Okay. Do they have the abilities to make humans sick, or do we do that ourselves? I know people that have come in contact with forces like him that have gotten very ill and died. Is that they weren't ready for the frequency? Yeah,
let's expand on that. So right away when you asked that, he said yes.
Oh, that they can kill us? That they can make us sick?
Okay. Well, he says, we are energy. We are dark energy. Trying to unveil your dark energy so that you can come more into light. He's showing me the cells. If the cells become out of balance, it's almost like cancerous, and they eat upon each other, and the mind can't work through it. Hold on one sec. He's showing me a strange possession where it almost feels like the entity cannot be exorcised out. I'm just trying to understand why that would happen. He's making me see an extreme case where energies, like I guess demonics, can come into a body and can completely take over, and the dark energy cannot be expelled very, very easily through, like exorcism or a priest or prayers. And it feels like part of that was because along the process, the individual agreed and didn't step into their power in some sense.
Okay. How would that agreement, I think there's something about that. Every once in a while it happens and it's an agreement from the past. How would we, if we are seeing other people that are, say, possessed by chaotic spirits and we want away, how do we recognize that or stay away from that? Or is it part of a system and it just happens? Like I see people around my neighborhood that I'm like, ooh, I got to step back. I don't want to I don't want to interfere with that. Does he have any tips how we would recognize that?
Oh, good. Okay. He says there are a few often zombie-like states, especially within like the eyes. He's making me feel like the eyes don't have like excitement. There's no energy to it. It's like a dead energy almost. It's just living. Let's see, what other things can you look at? There's a lot of energy depletion in the body and the eyes. It doesn't feel like it's got life, zest, vitality. It feels more like it's just there.
Can that depletion look like malnutrition?
He says yes, it can, but there is almost like if you're malnutrition, there's this idea of like you're still wanting life, like you're still desiring life in some way. And this type of entity possession there's no desires. There's no like, what's the word? It just feels like a desire thing. There's no like motivation. Electrical, like no motivation really. It's just like it's just like a walking zombie almost.
So we don't have to fear it.
Let me see. He says in those type of states, we would suggest that the human has agreed to succumb their body over to other energies, and it would be advisable to remove yourself.
Okay. When there is a possession, is the person in the body with them, or does the person leave their body? And not like the one I just said, but when are there two beings in the body at once when there's a possession?
So he's actually given me the visual of the movie Get Out. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but basically it's like the conscious self, the individual that has will over the body, steps back and is still in there somewhere, but it's very quiet and passive. And the energy of, let's just say, the demon or darker energy can take over and operate the system.
Okay, so they're not being tortured. It's just quiet. They're just passive in the back.
Yes.
Okay. Last question. And I don't know can we say thank you to him for his time? How do we, does he have any tips on how we can avoid him or this process? Oh, I have two. I'm sorry. That's one of them.
No, you're fine. The main way he initially was kind of like, we can't really avoid. Eventually, you're gonna have to face it. He's like, but if you truly want to stay on, that's the good side, I guess, so to speak, is you've got to completely cut out anything negative and stay in love and light. Very Christian based kind of feeling. Demonics are bad. All of that is bad, and you just stay in love and light. Anything else to...
But that's the shield, to know ourselves, know our shadow side, and stay in love and light.
Well, he's saying if you do not want to ever come in contact with us, you wouldn't have to know your shadow side. It's a very Christian-based feel to me, where you're just, if someone's on drugs, you don't pay attention to them. You don't dive into maybe why or integrate any intellectual understanding or heartfelt interaction. You just say, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm focusing on my stuff, and I'm going to do this.
Okay. And he doesn't mean it as a denial, or and the soul can still evolve in that love and light.
He's saying as far as evolution, no, because you're taking more of like, I guess it would be called the right-hand path, where you do not look at the left hand. You just focus on what is going to be good for you, what is going to be loving, and you don't look at shadow aspects of psyche.
Okay, so it's like a stall. It's like a middle state. It's no...
Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually, you will have to kind of, to balance your own energy, you will have to see some darkness or to integrate some type of shadow into your own energy field.
Okay. And so when do people ever... Are we ever baiting them? Like when I do paranormal investigation or I try to help people, am I looking for trouble, or is it fine? Because I'll get what I'm going to get anyways.
He says it depends how you go about it. There are many entities that still roam the earth, and they do not like to be disturbed. Okay. This goes for earthbound spirits that have had human bodies, and it also goes for various elementals, and he says like demonic realms, where they like their space and they don't want to be bothered. If you were to come upon their space, state your intent, and he's making me feel like, see if you can feel into what will be required of you to come into their space, because he's making me feel like there's a very territorial thing in some of these paranormal spaces. Okay.
All right. So that would make sense. That makes sense with Jinn also. Are they literally involved in our political system, or that's too sort of micro for them? Like they don't do world politics, right? Is that micro to them, or do they actually get involved?
Let's see. He says there are legions, as we have spoken about, and individual demonics that thrive off of power and control. In that essence, in that state of awareness, they do take control only if the individual, the person, desires it as well.
Okay. I kind of want to ask if we're there, but I think that's not my business. So, and this is a weird question, but what you and I are doing right now is safe. It's curiosity, or it's not safe.
He says we would consider it safe at this moment, based on because of my preparatory work.
Okay.
And yours. There's a lot of you showed me you have a lot of old soul preparatory stuff as well that makes you a match.
Okay. Is there a way, does he have anything else he wants to tell us?
Okay. He says, we do not want you to fear us anymore. We, meaning like humans in general, we are here to serve you. That is our purpose. We are in servitude to you, but we will not serve you if you feel less powerful than us. We will demonstrate and challenge your power so that you can understand that you are one with God. It is not in our essence and he says, like, how we're made to be like loving and soft with it, but we will be if you understand that you are almost like created above us. You created to be your own God in a way. Let me just see if there's anything else with that. He said that you were created to run your own universe and to run your own godlike system, and that we've all gone through a fallen state where that's been forgotten. And because of some of that, we've lost the heart center, and we've desired riches and power to take place of that, at least from years past. And now we're bringing more of the light back in. But but we have to face the shadow first. He's saying we can't just pretend it's not there and go into like a Christian-based love and light and angels. He's like, that's not what's going to work this time, unfortunately. So he's really talking about integrating some of these, I guess, demonic teachings or what they're here for.
Right. Well, I think, and I might be wrong, but I feel like where we are in the United States right now, we're about to face that. It's about to get hard before it gets good.
He says, yes, shadows must come to the surface, and they are coming to the spot where you can physically see them. They are no longer hidden deep within. He's making me feel like it's not at night when you're dreaming and it's peaceful. He's like, they're coming up where you like have to look at it, and it's really scary.
Okay. Wow. I think I'm overwhelmingly thrilled and would like to thank him for this interaction.
He says, you're most welcome. He's actually saying we would like to speak at any time in the future. He's really giving me the feeling of helping people become comfortable with the idea and not running from it.
All right. Yeah. Tell him he's got a spot on my podcast. Do they have a sense of humor? Does he think that's funny?
He says we do, but we don't know if it would be the same.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. I guess I don't know how to say this, but again, with all due respect, please thank him. And then I'd love to chat with you, Deete, about, let me take a little break here, and then Deete, you'll chat with me?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, hang on, folks. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Also, I got a couple of dates I want to tell you about. The first one is February 6th at 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. I will be headlining for flapperscomedy.com. It'll be me, my friend monologue writer for The Conan Show, Brian Kiley, and the hysterical Stephanie Clark. Tickets are $10. You can get them at flapperscomedy.com. $10 covers your whole living room. So here's what you do. You buy a ticket for $10. You charge 10 people $10 to get in. There, you're skimming off the top. I'm Karenrontowski, and I approve of that message. So February 6th, 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. Tickets at flapperscomedy.com. The second date I want to tell you about is February 11th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will be doing a Facebook Live with a preview of my tarot class. Yes, I'm going to be joined by numerologist Brian Kukan, and we will be talking about tarot and numerology. So if you're interested in tarot or interested in my class or already took my class, tune in. We will have a lot to talk about. Also, I apologize. I'm already at 5,000 friends, so please just follow me. And if you sign up for my email at karenrontowski.com, an email with instructions will be coming right to your email box. That's me. I'm all in your computer. I'm haunting everyone's computer. February 6th, 7:30, flapperscomedy.com. February 11th, 7 p.m., Facebook Live. And now back to the show. We're back now. That could be one of the most enlightening podcasts I think I've done. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I learned so much.
It was really fun. Like, it's funny because I feel like I channel it, but I'm still learning a lot about the ancient gods and like what happened to the fall of mankind and all these old ancient gods, I guess, back in the day in Mesopotamia. Like, I don't really know fully logically what happened, but I feel like my soul remembers. Right. You know, like I feel like there's something there, but I just don't know. So I like channeling it to kind of get more clarity.
I will admit I was nervous. I was a little nervous, but I think the problems we see on Earth might be, well, no, I mean, obviously what he said, I have to go back and listen again because I was like half like, oh, I don't want to miss a question here, but I want to process this. It was, I'm up for doing this again anytime. I'm kind of speechless. It was amazing. I think it seems like the lower level ones, the chaotic ones, are almost a bigger problem. I mean, in what we see.
I think so too. Based on even my own energetic like interpretation of what I felt, I don't like the lower ones. They feel really slimy and just like gross. They come up to me really close. Mm. And the ones that are higher up, they have like a respectability for like the human experience, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but they have distance and they like are just there.
Yeah, he feels like he doesn't have time to make you jump, say boo and make you jump. Like he gets nothing from that.
Yeah, and I will say too, the times that they have come through for me in a very scary and dark way are times, like I had said in this channel, that I just was not willing to face truth. I literally saw truth and I was like, I don't like that it's going to change my world, so I'm not looking at it. And it got dark. Like the entity got very dark. But now that I'm in a state of surrender and I'm like, it is basically everything we need to integrate. They are just so much more. I feel like they do interact with people's energy and they feed off of, or not, I don't even think feed off of, but they interact with where you're at energetically.
Yeah. And there seems to be something, and I always hesitate to challenge anything. I don't want to challenge anything, but I was very much involved with a case where it seemed like and I'll say demon, went after everybody but me. And I don't want to challenge it. I'm perfectly happy with that story, the way it ended. But I wonder, he said we're each connected to an angel, and I think I'm connected to Archangel Michael, who would be the perfect one to have around at that time. I should have asked this. But I wonder what that is. I don't know. It's just, I get it that there's certain ones they are more attracted to that, actually the human soul is attracting. Now I'm just babbling. I'm sorry.
No, that makes sense. I think each, demonic has an angel where if you call upon that angel or if you work heavily with that angel, they keep that demon at bay.
Right. So he said we're going to see them. Oh boy.
I don't know that we're going to see the actual demons, maybe.
But I think you're right. We're going to see the ugliness of the world.
We're going to see the ugliness. But I don't know, like you said, like the veil is getting really thin and the people become more psychically in tune and more spiritually aware. They could start like having more impressions like that. Yeah,
I think it's funny because I run that, and then you've been so kind with your time. There's so much to think about now, because I understand where my friends say this must be, now I get it, because my friends are like, you are a god and there's nothing to fear. And I get, so obviously that statement is true, but maybe there's nothing to fear but ourselves. Because if we are not in that state, or we think we're in that state and we really are not, that is when we get in trouble. So it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I think so too. And it seems like the times that I've gotten in trouble is when I know something but I pretend it's not there, like I just kind of do my ego thing. That's when it's like, nope, because that's not really what God's source would do. He would encompass all things.
Right.
I feel like anyway.
I have to say, I am so glad we are friends. This is like one of the most, like, my head is exploding. I remember when I was like watching all your videos, and then I was like, she's in Utah. I wonder if I can invite her to a show. This had to be, 2 years ago?
Oh, no, that was so fun. I know, and I was really nervous because I was like, I don't know how to do this. I'm going to do this. I do. I have to share something with you, though, that happened last night that you might think is funny.
Okay.
So in preparing for this, 2 days ago, I was sitting with it, and I was like, well, should I call a certain demon in, or should I just let it go? And when I was meditating, I kept hearing the name Baal.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, I don't know if that's, and it was more of no, he has a message for you personally. And I was like, well, what should I do to prepare for that message? And I heard in my mind, you need to be fully naked. And I was like, let's not do that. I'm not going to do that, but thank you. But anyway, last night I got in the bathtub fully naked, and he came to me because he has a very specific, I don't know, the way he looks and stuff, he came into my mind and then delivered the message. But I thought it was funny how I was naked. I was in the tub.
That's so funny.
Whatever. But yeah, it was really good, ancestral stuff that I needed to look at. And he was I guess reminding me of that stuff. But
Wow. All right. Well, listen, anytime again you want to do this, we'll do this. I have so much to think about now. And that was actually really comforting.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm so glad we decided to do that. It felt right. It didn't feel weird.
Yeah. Maybe, I think we're a good team, my friend. I so appreciate you. Oh, I didn't even ask. Tell everyone where to find you or where they can book a reading or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can just put that in the comment part or the description.
I will. Reincarnatedmormon.com or reincarnatedmystic.com. Both, right?
Reincarnated mystic.
Reincarnated mystic. Wow. It already sounds like you what I know about your life, it sounds like you already freed yourself from your demons. So good for you. Well, all right, everyone, look in the show notes. I got to go back and listen to this again. That was phenomenal. I feel like the new age is not disappointing us at all. So all right. Thank you again, Deete. Thanks to Mike at Uno Rising Media. Everyone be safe. And I'm going to repeat, don't try this at home.